Today I want to share with you my homemade yeast roll recipe. All we need for this recipe is 2½ cups of all-purpose unbleached flour, 2 tablespoons of sugar, a half teaspoon, this is a half teaspoon of salt. We need yeast. I'm using the fast-acting yeast today. We need canned milk because we're working from our pantry. If you just keep all of these pantry staples on hand, you'll be able to make some homemade rolls and bread easily, and some butter. Okay, so that's all we need to make beautiful homemade yeast rolls. It's November, and this is the kickoff of my baking season. I love to bake, so stay tuned with me. We're going to do the first step, which is blooming the yeast. Okay guys, so to bloom our yeast, which means to activate it, to make sure that it is active, I have a pack of yeast here. It expires in 2022. I've poured it in a bowl and I've heated my water to 110 degrees. And this is just to see if my yeast is still alive and active. And this is to activate it. Let's see, and I'm going to put a half teaspoon of sugar because yeast likes sugar. And so all we do is just dissolve it. This is called blooming it. And just, incorporate it. This is fast-acting yeast, and so I'm just going to let it sit here for about 5 minutes. And if it foams up, that means it's a good batch of yeast. Because I do this because you don't want to waste good flour and sugar and all that. Dump yeast in there and it's dead, and you've wasted your pantry staples. And so with pantry supplies being at a premium nowadays, flour and all that, we don't want to waste anything. So that's the purpose of doing this. You get some people just say go on and throw your yeast in there. But they're taking the temperature. They're not telling you that they're taking the temperature of their liquids. And so they know that it's not going to kill it. So I'm going to come back when this is all foamed up, and then we'll proceed with our rolls, okay? Okay, here's some apron cam. This is my zebra print apron. And it has these cute little pockets here and bows on here. So this is cute. Got it from Walmart. About $8.88. Okay, so here's our yeast. If you've seen it has foamed up, it's bubbled up, that means we got a good batch of yeast. Yes. So now we're going to incorporate our dry ingredients. We have 2 cups all-purpose unbleached flour. I'm going to put the rest of my sugar in here. This is probably like 1½ tablespoons of sugar, half teaspoon of salt. That's all we need. And I'm going to put that all in this big bowl here. This is my favorite bread bowl. And just whisk it. I've sifted that flour when I portioned it out. I sifted it and everything. Okay, so here is our flour and sugar. All right, so now I've heated a ½ cup of that canned milk. It's at 120 degrees. And then I'm going to put 2 tablespoons of butter in here so that the heat from the milk will melt this butter. And then we will incorporate all the liquids together. And people are intimidated by yeast rolls. It's just a temperature thing. You can get a thermometer at Walmart, Dollar Tree, and it's just, you just want to make sure that your water isn't scalding hot where it's going to kill the yeast. Most yeast will thrive and wake up from 100 degrees to 115 degrees. If it's hotter than that, then that will kill it. Okay, so I got my milk and butter mixture. Here's the yeast that we were blooming. Good. All right, and we're going to incorporate all of that together. And I want to get all of it, because there's nothing better than really yeasty. I'm going to incorporate everything together. I'm going to pour it all into the dry mixture. I think I'm going to have to turn this phone down a little bit. Just a minute. I need y'all to see what's going on. Okay, so I've incorporated the wet ingredients with the dry, and we're going to make a soft dough. This is exactly what it should look like at first, with 2 cups of flour. Now I have some bench flour over here. I got some more flour. We call it bench flour because it's the flour you put on your bench or on your table to knead the dough. So I just put a handful. And I'm sorry if you hear rustling. I always work with gloves. So if you hear my like rattling or rustling, it's me, because I always work with gloves. Okay, so now all we want to do is just kind of bring the dough, just make sure that it's not sticky. We can do all of this in the bowl. You don't have to make a whole lot of mess. See how clean the bowl is right now? The yeast is already just working like crazy. So all I'm doing is just trying to incorporate all that extra yeast. We don't have to like beat the dough up. It's just making sure all of the flour is incorporated. So this is what you want. This is all we need. Okay, so now I'm just going to keep this in the same bowl. And then I'm going to let it rise. We're going to let that yeast start working. And in about 40 minutes, this should double in size. And I'll come back when it's doubled in size and we're ready to shape our yeast rolls. See how much we've done already? We've bloomed our yeast, we've made our ball, and it's just been like 10 minutes in, and we're pretty much, all the hard part is done. Okay, family, it's been 30 minutes and our yeast has doubled in size. That looks good. Just punch it down, and that's all we need to do. So So now I'm just going to spread a little bench flour. Sorry for the rustling, guys. I like working with gloves. Okay, so see how soft it is? Okay, we're going to cut this in half. My bench scraper. Let me try it again. I can sometimes be off center. Okay, that's a good equal portion. Shape it into a disc. I'm going to roll it. Just put a little bit. And that's how it should be, just easy to roll out. And if you do it right, you don't have to really do a whole lot of rolling out. Let's see. So that's the size I want. I'm going to make 8 crescent rolls. I'm going to take a tablespoon of butter here. It is softened, and just spread it. Get every bit of this disc a thin layer of butter. It's salted butter. And I'm doing this. This is, to me, this is a survival skill. Learning how to make bread, learning how to use basic ingredients to make something sustainable. Because you know, bread was out. A lot of people couldn't find bread or affordable bread. And these were, like, I couldn't, when I was working in the office, I worked for AT&T for over 25 years, and we always had a lot of potlucks. So I always had to make the rolls, family gatherings. And these were also very popular. This is what jump-started my catering company. Making homemade yeast rolls, quiches, and cakes. So for this recipe, we just need our disc to be about this size. Okay, I'm going to cut it in half. I'm going to cut it like a pizza. That's all we need to do. Okay. Roll it up. And we're making crescents. Now for my aspiring caterers, if you see, there's plastic on this island, and this is what you do if you're a personal chef or you're catering in someone's home. I always protect their island, their surface, whatever surface you're working on. So I'll put plastic wrap on, and then sometimes we'll put paper, cloths on there, and then we'll put a plastic cloth. Everything, because you don't want clients saying, well, you know, they ruined my furniture, they ruined my, you know, ruined my counter. So I have a lot of aspiring caterers that started subscribing, and I want to thank all of my subscribers. I want to thank all of you guys for your support, all of my tastemakers, my low carb subscribers. I'm sorry, you see this, there is nothing about this that is low carb, but I have stuff coming. This is a request from one of my subscribers. She says, what would you make out of your preps? And I'm like, at this point, this time of year, I always start making yeast roll. It's November. This is the first thing I do to start my holiday cooking. I start baking. I get my rolls done first. Okay. So that's all we need to do with those. Okay, just I don't use an egg wash. I normally like to burn any excess flour. And when they come out of the oven, I'll put some melted butter on them. Now these, I'm gonna let these, at this stage, so once you proofed it the first time, then you punch it down and we shape it. And then we're going to let these proof for like another 10, 15 minutes. See, while you're letting that proof, then you're working on your other disc. So this other half. Be gentle with it, and I don't want it too flat either. You know, about a ½ inch thick. All right, and I'll come back. Okay, family, here are my 2 batches. This is the first batch that I did. These are already, I let these rest. They're already puffing up some more, which is good. Just while I let those rest, I work on these over here, and my gloves on. I always work with gloves. I don't know why. I don't. Okay, and then just let these rest 10, 15 minutes. They'll start puffing up, and then they're going to go to work some more in the oven. So when they get out of the oven, I'll let you guys see, then we'll test it. And you see, this is easy, all right? Okay, fam, now these rolls are worth the trouble. And these, like I said, these were popular at potlucks and everything. And you can just do these a couple times a year. They freeze well once they cool down. Then you can put them in freezer bags and freeze them. So, you know, you could just take, this is what I do. I just take a day and just bake. See, this is what they look like straight out of the oven. I'm going to brush some melted butter on them. Here's that other batch. I'm going to put them in the oven now. And let these bake for about 18 minutes, about 15, you know, till you see that they're golden brown like this. So I'm going to just generously put some butter on there. Let them cool down a couple of minutes when they're right out of the oven, because the CO2 is still working and it can cause some, if you eat it too fast, when that CO2 is still trying to escape, you can, cause some problems, let alone they're still very hot. But I'm going to wrap this up and let's see. And I want to thank you guys. Thank you for your support. If you've learned anything today, and if you like this video, like my content, I welcome you to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. You'll see my picture at the end of this video. Go on and hit my picture, hit subscribe, and you are subscribed, and hit that bell notification so you'll be notified when I upload any new content, which I upload normally once a week. Okay, so here are our rolls. I'm going to get this little one here. It's a little bitty one. Woo. See how hot it is? Steam still coming out. Perfect. These are worth the trouble. Thank you so much, you guys. Love you. Thank you, Tastemakers. See you in my next video.